Welcome, War Gamers, to another episode of Rules You Got Wrong. And this is for the Orks versus Eldar, me versus Chris. So let's get into those comments. TB Prime Minister. What was the bet? Haha. I'm not going to tell you. Draxel. When do we get to see you field the Deca jet? And indeed, what do you think of new Ork flyers? Ooh, ooh, ah. He's not completely done yet. But anyways, I'm using the bomber instead because Deca, yes, you can throw out tons of Deca and you can kill the small vehicles, but for the big vehicles, which is what Orks always have problems with, that's what the bomber's for. And hopefully he doesn't die on the way there, or if he does get shot down, at least it'll go well with a speed freak army, I think. Which is what I'd love to field. And I'll probably get a few more. Just gotta limit my budget right now. Because I also got this guy. He's big. So, Damon Master. I want to see Chris rocking in a top knot. Well, ask him. Towboy26. When assaulting models with flying bases, it is also acceptable to come into base with contact with the model's hull, not just the flying base. You could have assaulted the bikes in cover. I guess that's true. I think I was still out of range though. It's hard to tell with the camera angle sometimes, because sometimes like, you look through the camera and it looks like they're like clearly in range or out of range, and then you like look in real life and you just lean over and you're like, oh, just because of the angles, and it makes it so clear on the camera. So, but anyways, good thing to note is that, yeah, the base, especially with the Eldar, like flying vehicles, like there's like tiny little base underneath, but there's like their hull that goes out, and yeah, measure from the hull or the base of the model, at least. Riddick, 40k. Harlequins, I believe, are fearless, so would have to take more wounds instead of running away. Nope, they're leadership 9. That's it. Nisinka. Fire Seer should have died of instant death, or am I missing something? You are missing something. Fire Seer never got hit until later on, when he failed a bunch of wounds from the boys. Power Claw didn't even get to hit. So there was no opportunity for instant death this game. That's all. Shadow Sun, but it's like a Z in front. Shadow Sun. Shadow Sun. Are you sure you're allowed to shoot when fleeing? I'm pretty sure you can't. Page 46, rulebook, under firing when falling back. Troops that are falling back may continue to shoot, but obviously count as moving. It's all there. Drink gasoline. Can anybody explain to me how come the boys could outflank on the long board edge? I thought it was only your own board edge. Thanks a lot. Well, your own board edge is the long board edge. You never have the short board edge. Now, in Spearhead, because you have the table quarters, here. Yeah, I know it confuses a couple people. If you actually just read the rules, it's actually super, super simple. And so that's on page 93. But anyways, it says, okay, table's divided into, the 3x2 quarters, and then you do a circle 12 inches around the center. And then it says, players roll off, winner chooses to go for second. The player that goes first then chooses one of the long table edges to be his own table edge. He then deploys his force in one of the 2 table quarters on his side, more than 12 inches away from the table. So when you actually choose your table quarter, you choose the side and then the quarter. And so the long board edge is your deployment zone, which reinforcements arrive from. And so in table quarters is actually really nifty and more advantageous a lot of time to hold stuff in reserve, because if you're both merging on each other from each corner, you can get a flank in right here. if they choose to go that way. So you can put a lot of your army going one way around to his table edge. If he's not bringing in reserves, you gotta be careful there too. And then when he moves away, especially when you have a more melee army, he's moving away towards this way, you can come in with a squad of boys and pummel them like I did. And it's really, really satisfying because they're like, oh, dang it. But it's kind of unreliable when they come in reserve, so. But anyways, yes, your long table board edge that also means that the 2 feet on the side, you're not allowed to come in on that side at all. You have to come in the long board edge. Hucko Seft. Farseer can cast powers when falling back. I suppose they can. Because you can shoot while falling back, which means you can do shooting when falling, like shooting powers while falling back, psychic powers. And so if you're moving when falling back, you can do psychic powers when you move with the Farseer, right? So you should be able to cast powers. That makes sense. I guess we did that wrong. Thank you, Huckoseft. Epic Wilmer. He forgot to move the boys with the boar boss. Oh no, I didn't forget. I wanted to move them. They were pinned. Know what pinned means? They can't move. They can't do anything. They missed a turn. Because the guys that were falling back that couldn't regroup. They were below half. They were falling back. And they're like shooting pinning weapons at my boys as they're running away. And they're pinning them. It was frustrating, but awesome strategy. So never, and they were fearless. They were fine, but then the Storm Guardian shot all their pistols. It was the most damage I've ever taken from falling back units. Tricksy Eldar. Never underestimate a squad. Even if it's falling back, it can still do a lot of damage. I've had it before where I've had a squad falling back, and it was like a Death Copter, I think, and it just shot a random rocket and like took a guy off an objective, and no, it happened to me. It was opposite. I had a Death Copter, and his guys falling back, took some pot shots, killed the Death Copter off the objective, because it was contesting it. And that was it for me. I lost that game. Kilby Bean. 1, 2, 3. Only 20 shots. I wish as a Blood Angel player I could have say that. And Dan, you must learn that orcs don't have the equivalent of everything. Sure, orcs have equivalent of everything. They can figure out how to make an equivalent of anything. And in their minds, it's the equivalent. Except for the tricksy, silly stuff. We don't want to equivalate that. That's right, I said that word. Okay, so 20, yeah, but you gotta remember, 20 shots is actually only like 7 shots. Oh, I guess more like 10 if you're doing statistics wise. If you're like Ballistic Skill 3 or 4 compared to Ballistic Skill 2. So, I don't know. You need lots of shots with orcs, so only 20 is actually, not that much. I don't think so anyways. At least for how much loot it cost. Ugh.